Mike was asking, do you want to do 2 bis and 2 tris? But I think it's more interesting if we still keep to the premise of 3 exercises, because then it forces you to think, okay, do I want to do 2 bicep or 2 tricep and 1 bicep? So I'll let you lead again.
3 exercises.
3 exercises for arms.
Arms. Easiest job of my life.
Okay.
First exercise is for triceps. It's gonna be the Skullcrusher. Barbell, dumbbell, easy bar, doesn't matter. But barbell's my preferred favorite. It really lets you hit most of your tricep and gets you maximum tension at the stretch.
Your forearm right now, dude.
Look at this. I don't even know what is it doing that weird shit?
So no, it's just so vascular. It's so nice.
Yeah.
It's like the shit that like bodybuilders love and like.
Let me touch your veins, bro.
Females are like. Bleh.
Yeah. Fuck females. Literally. Though I've never tried.
That's fine.
Tried. Didn't work.
I'll talk to Dr. Crystal about that.
Thank you. Next exercise is the overhead easy bar extension. Seated or standing. You reach back really far. Long head, goodbye. And remember, your tricep is significantly bigger than your bicep, so it makes sense that you might emphasize more volume there. But the real reason I only have 1 bicep exercise is because this bicep exercise is, I would say, the king of all bicep exercises. It is ideally, if you have a decline machine at your gym, which you probably don't because they're fucking weird, decline or worst case flat, bench, dumbbell curls. What? You lay back on a bench, you start out here and you curl to below your body, fully stretching your biceps at their elbow and at the shoulder. You get the highest forces of the movement roughly at the very stretch, which is exactly what you want via all the science. And then you come up in an arc. There's not a ton of force up here. Reverse, slowly control, get a deep stretch. If you do a few sets of 10 to 15 reps of those, the first time ever you do them, I almost promise you'll get delayed onset bicep soreness for days. And I've been doing them repeatedly for weeks on weeks now, and they cause delayed onset soreness all the time. I've just never had a bicep exercise do that, except for some cable stuff. But it's really, really special. It checks all the biomechanical boxes. It's very low fatigue. Standing with a fucking barbell or a standing cable station, like fucking my abs and my back, this is super easy. You lie down for it and it fucks you up so bad you're only gonna need 1 exercise on any given arm day like this. 3, 4, 5 sets, start with 2 for the love of God. If you've never done it before, it's gonna nuke you to the fucking moon. Bad news, you're nuked to the moon. Good news, you have big arms. So it's really just really great news.
There you go. So I think that's a tremendous list. I'll be tracking pretty close, but I think for my, I will also have 2 triceps, 1 bicep, just because triceps are a much larger muscle group. And if you have really nice triceps, your arms are just generally bigger. So for me, the first one's gonna be a push down movement. So I did a little EMG testing, and I know it's not like perfect science, but it's also my favorite movement pattern. It's going to be an incline, bench, iso, push down. So basically that vector of force is going to be, you're just going to set up an incline bench. That vector of force of cable is coming from back behind you. You have I usually like to use a bar because you can get more bracing than, let's say, a rope. You can load it heavier. And what I do is I get as much stretch as humanly possible here on that incline. And then I drive down and through. I can't use any momentum. I don't have to worry about, like, obviously bracing with my core or having that be my limiting factor. I drive through, and since that vector of force is now coming from behind me instead of in front, I have a tremendous amount of contractile force at the bottom of my rep. Whereas if it's in front of me, a lot of times people will be getting pulled forward and you lose a little bit of that peak contraction. And then at the stretch position, since that's coming from behind you as well, I can go basically forearm to bicep and get a crazy amount of stretch before driving through. So it checks a lot of boxes for me in terms of, first of all, I can load it. Second of all, it's very isolated. I don't have to worry about fatiguing through, like you said, your core, lower back. It's kind of like makes you lock into your form. So I've taught people this and they tend to get it very, very fast. And they're like, oh my God, my triceps are on fire. And then also the fact that I feel like it, for me, trumps, let's say, a heavier skull crusher movement or something like that, because of the fact that I've found more people, including myself, tend to over time get more like tendon issue with heavier loading in this capacity where I'm doing more of a press than an extension, just because you can load a press heavier inherently. And in that angle for me and for a lot of people, I'll start to get kind of that like elbow tendonitis, that kind of tennis elbow right through here if I do it for too long. So that's one for me. Number two is gonna be an overhead bias. So same thing for me, I would use a cable from a low position. So either standing or kneeling, and I have that cable coming from behind, same thing. Since that vector of force is coming from down and back, at the stretch position, it's like insane amounts of stretch. And then when I come up and through, since it's coming from down from the floor, I still have a tremendous amount of contractile force at the top of my reps. So I would recommend that kneeling if you want to have more like bracing standing, or even you can use a bench if you want to get that set up. You can be back behind you and you go from the low position, either a military bench so you have more space, or an incline bench and kind of scoot yourself up. And that's like going to be like the king, because then you don't have to worry about core bracing. It's just all tricep isolation. And then number three would be for biceps, very similar to Mike's, but I'm going to use an incline bench and put cables on both sides, usually more of a narrow setup like a cable cross, from behind in a low position. So I'm here and I have a crazy amount of, like he mentioned, tension in that stretch position, and then I'm going to curl, keeping the elbows down and back. And here I'm going to stop, because once I get to here, what I call over curling, you're not achieving anything beyond just doing more range of motion. Just do more range of motion. It's going to start pushing into your front delt. So you keep the elbows tucked down and back, reach basically back behind you as far as you can, because that vector of force is coming from behind. Come up, peak contraction. I think chef's kiss for me. You get a tremendous amount of obviously stimulus with very minimal like bodily fatigue elsewhere. It's like completely isolated. So I think those would be my three forearms.
I love it. I love that list. And that last bicep exercise is like, I could have easily said that. I love like the free motion cable machine where I set up. I don't usually do the bench. I just lean forward a little bit, but either way, it's accomplishing the same goal of really putting up the pins high. So you have 90 degrees at the very bottom here, a super big stretch. At the top, it's really easy. Come back down. And one of my big tips is control that eccentric, because as the angle of the elbow opens up, the force is going to get higher and higher, and it's super tempting to be like, and it's okay, you probably won't get hurt, but you're not going to get a lot of movement, or as much as you could. Control. That doesn't mean super slow, it just means control, big stretch, and then go, and I think that's fucking awesome.
I want you guys below, would you pick Dr. Mike or little plebeian Eric, non-IFBB pro list? I think both have crazy efficacy. I don't think you can literally go wrong with either of these. So I think it's going to be a fun discussion down in the comments, but stay tuned and we'll see you guys on the next video.